somebody could do your job for you. You definitely want to work yourself out of a day-to-day task job. If you work yourself out of a job, you have the ability to stop, look at the company, and restructure it, change it, be the marketing face, be the face of the company. You have time to do all those extra things that will grow the company and bring more business in. But if nobody knows how to do your job and you have to do your day-to-day grind, then it's not going to work out for you. Here's a story for you. 10 years ago, I was doing sales for the sign company. I love sales. Love the kill. Go into a boardroom, bunch of suits, sell them on a new sign package. That is my fantasy. Love it. I love sales. But my dad, who was the estimator in the company, did all the estimating. I was the front end, dad was the back end. If dad had assumed room temperature overnight, I could not run that company. It would go under instantaneously. I had no idea how to build a sign. I had no idea how to estimate a sign. It was all in his head. Well, at the time, dad owned the sign company. He was the owner. No one knew how to do his job. So if something catastrophic were to happen to him, the company would go under overnight. He didn't set himself up for an exit strategy other than having an heir and me taking over the family business. But if somebody knew how to do estimating, if somebody knew all the information that was in his head, if he had written it down on paper or had a good software system in place for it, that would have not been the case. We would have been able to limp along and find our way and grow the company again if something catastrophic would have happened to him. When we launched Square Coil in our company, instantly we saw how he was estimating. Everything was on paper. We could see the channel letters, the cabinet sign, what his thought processes were. And then we started to see the costing on the back end to compare the notes of how close did he guesstimate. Because we all know an estimate is a guess. We're guessing of how long it's going to take. We really don't know every single little pothole along the road, but we had to take a guess. So we started to compare the costing with his estimating, and he was pretty spot on. He was pretty dialed, but we now had a track record and anybody else could estimate. We now have another estimator that does the estimating. He doesn't have to do it anymore. We trained somebody to do his job and got all the information out of his brain. Let's say I assumed room temperature and I passed away instantaneously and he didn't have his exit strategy anymore. Because the software was in place and you had, an SOP through the software dialed in, he was able to say, this is what we do. This is how you achieve the goal. This is how you estimate. You can do what I do if you're to buy the company from it. You guys have to have your exit strategy thought out. If you guys are in production, somebody else better know how to build. If you're in marketing, somebody better know how to market. If you're in sales, somebody else better know how to do sales. You guys have to start training your replacement if you have any hopes of selling your company. If I train somebody, then I'm going to get fired. That has never come around in the history of time if you work for a good company. If you work for a bad company, there was warning signs already, let's not lie. There were red flags that you didn't pay attention to. But if you work for a good company, they want you to train somebody to do their job so you can go on to something else.